Welcome to the grammar of chapter 106, which is Surah Quraysh. This chapter comes after the chapter of the elephant. These two surahs are very interrelated. In this video, we are going to go through the grammar of this surah. But before that, we are going to read this surah itself and its translation from Professor Abdul Halim's translation. Let's go. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Li'ilafi Quraysh, for the security of the Quraysh. إِلَافِهِمْ رِحْلَةَ الشِّتَاءِ وَالصَّيْفِ, their security in the caravan of winter and summer. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ, let them worship the Lord of this house. الَّذِي أَطْعَمَهُم مِّن جُوعٍ وَآمَنَهُم مِّن خَوْفٍ, who has fed them, saving them from hunger, and made them safe, saving them from fear. Alright, now let's go to the grammar of this surah. So here in the screen you can see the categories of words in the boxes, okay, and then we are going to analyze word by word the grammar or the functions of the words. Okay, let's start with the first one. The first one is very interesting because it begins with a preposition which is li, which means for. It's like Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. That verse begins with a preposition be, which means with or in. Okay, so what that usually means is that there is a linking verb. You have to link a verb to that preposition. Whenever you have a preposition, you have to remember one thing, which is you have to link it to a preceding verb. Okay, and now you don't see a preceding word before li, right? So you have to work that out. Okay, we are going to do that as we go along. Okay, so let's begin. Li la fi. Li is a particle of preposition. Okay, therefore I'll just write that it's a particle of, give me a second, particle of preposition. Okay, and therefore the noun that comes after it is the object of preposition which it drags. Okay, and then ila fi Qurayshin. Can you see that noun plus noun, and the second noun is dragged, having a kasra, and therefore the second noun becomes a possessive, and that's it. That's the grammar functional in terms of functions for the first verse, ila fi Quraysh, and the meaning is for the safeguarding of the Quraysh. Okay, I changed this translation to safeguarding to diversify the translations. Based on Halim's translation, it's security. Based on this translation, is safeguarding. It's about the same. Okay, let's go on. So verse number 2, إِلَافِهِمْ رِحْلَةَ الشِّتَاءِ وَالصَّيْفِ. So noun plus noun, إِلَافِهِمْ, noun plus noun. Whenever you have a noun plus pronoun, that him, it means it is a possessive. Okay, so the safeguarding of them. And then you have rihlata. Now whenever you have rihlata, okay, rihlata, usually it is an object of verb, but you don't see a verb in this verse. You don't see a verb. Now it's this one is a bit interesting. We'll come back to rihlata. Let's go to ashita first. So you have rihlata shita'i. What is that? Clear, right? It's a possessive. -2 + 1. Rihlata shita, the journey of winter. And then wa would be a conjunction, right? A conjunction, particle of conjunction. And as-sayfi would be the follower of conjunction, therefore we just write F follow a conjunction, and therefore we are done with the last three words, the functions of those three words. Now let's get back to rihlata. Now here I have to explain a bit, okay? Now ilaf means the safeguarding. It is a noun. It is a noun. But then any rooted noun, okay, not any rooted noun, but some rooted nouns can play the role of its verb. Okay, in this case ilaf is the verbal noun, the masdar in Arabic. So masdar usually you have an ing at the back, in this case safeguarding. So the meaning is the literal meaning is basically the act of safeguarding. So this act of safeguarding is a noun which can play the role of a verb, and therefore usually it would if it's transitive, it can have an object of verb. Okay, so it becomes a verb. This ilaf, the safeguarding, becomes a verb, and then what comes after it is him, right? Him, which we have identified as possessive. Now the thing is, we can also identify him as the object of verb. Where is the verb? Ilaf on behalf of its verb. Okay, so it's basically saying that God is safeguarding them, the Quraysh. Okay, so ilaf here becomes a verb. Now the other interesting thing is that this verb can also have another word. Okay, it's like let me give you an English example. Okay, I made him a sandwich, for example. Okay, so made is a verb, him is the object of verb, sandwich is also an object of verb, because you made him, as in you made for him a sandwich, but him in this case becomes an object of verb, and sandwich becomes the second object of verb. So in this case you can have two objects of verbs. Okay, the same for ilaf. Ilaf means safeguard, so God safeguard them, their journey. So rihlata becomes the object of verb number 2. You see that? And that's why you have a fatha. Okay, so this is an instance where you have a noun that can play the role of a verb, and therefore what comes after it, meaning wise, it is an object of verb, and function wise, grammatically, we call it object of verb. All right, so now one more thing. Okay, one more thing. What about this ilaf? Okay, this ilafi, what is the function of ilafi? Now usually when you see two words, okay, repeated again, it is an elaboration. Okay, so the function of ilaf here is the elaboration or follower elaboration. So you have li'ilafi Qurayshin ilafihim, for the safeguarding of Quraysh. Which safeguarding? What type of safeguarding? The safeguarding of them, their journey of winter and summer. Okay, so that is the grammar of verse number 2. Let's go to number 3. All right, verse number 3. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. The fa here is a particle of resumption. Okay, so a lam here is called the particle of command, or lamul amr. Okay, particle of command. As you can see, the verb after it is a present tense. So whenever you see a particle of command, okay, it makes the present tense take on the meaning of command tense. Okay, so this is lamul amr. This particle of command usually has a kasra. Okay, so let's say if the fa is not there, it becomes liyabudu, which means let them worship. But because fa is there, it becomes so let them worship. All right, so now this, and that's lamul amr is a killer, as in it makes the present tense after it has a sukun. But then this present tense actually has a noon initially, so ya'buduna. So whenever a present tense has a noon and it's kill, you don't put a sukun at the end, you just take away the noon, and that's why the noon is represented by the alif, as you can see. All right, so okay, so this is a verb. The next one will be the noun, which is the pronoun waw, which means they. So it becomes the subject of. So yeah, the subject of verb. And then every verb has an optional object of verb. In this case, it's rabba. As you can see from the fatha, this is an object of verb. Now, when you go to هذا البيت, you have to settle هذا البيت first. Okay. Here's how. Whenever you see a demonstrative noun, this is a demonstrative noun. Isim ishara is called in Arabic, which means this. Whenever you see a demonstrative noun plus a noun with an al, okay, whenever that happens, okay, you don't translate the al. That's why you don't have the house here. You don't translate the here, and straight away it becomes these house, okay, which means straight away the function of this al-bayt becomes a follower adjective to hada, And now what about hada? What is the function of hada? The function of hada is this. If you can see here, rabb hada, okay, noun plus noun, right? So rabba is noun, hada is also noun plus noun. There's no alif lam, there's no tanween here, and this one is in a drag position, so it becomes a possessive, right? Possessive, and that's why you have of here. So lord of, or the lord of this house, okay. And yep, that is the functions of this words for verse number 3. Let's go to, okay, let's translate first. So let them worship the Lord of this house. Okay, next. So we are at verse number 4 now. Okay, what you have is الذي أطعمهم من جوع. الذي أطعمهم من جوع. Now this is a continuation of the previous verse. That's why it begins with the one who. Okay, now the one who is a relative noun. Okay, so whenever you have relative noun, usually it is describing whatever that came before it. In this case, Rabb, it is describing Lord. So he is the one who. So we call this follower elaboration. Okay, it is elaborating more about the God that was mentioned in the previous verse. So next you have a verb, at'amahum. At'ama means feed or fed in this case, but it's translated as feeds because God keeps feeding. All right, so at'ama would have a what do you call it, subject of verb, which is huwa, implied huwa, or he. So he feeds them, so them would become the object of verb, and at'ama would be the verb form number 4 with the pattern of af'ala. So min is a particle of preposition that is quite direct, it's straightforward. Ju'in would be the object of preposition. Remember, whenever you see a preposition, you have to find a linking verb. So let's link that. So min would be linked to the verb that comes before it, which is at'ama. Okay, with that, you have to make one more link, which is whenever you see a relative noun, see that's the gap here. So you link by saying that this verbal structure is linked to alladhi. Why is that so? because this huwa, the implied he, goes back to alladhi, and therefore you have filled up the gaps for this verse. Let's go to the final verse. Okay, this is the final verse. You have وَآمَنَهُمْ مِنْ خَوْفٍ, and saves them from fear. Okay, so an would be a particle of conjunction. Okay, amana would be a verb. Okay, and every verb has a subject and object optional. So the subject is the implied he, and the object is whom here, and he saves them. Okay, saves them from would be the okay, sorry, the object should be written down here. This is a noun and this is also a noun. Okay, and min will be the particle of preposition, and therefore this khawfin, which is a noun, is the object of preposition. And there you have it. And what did we not do? We did not link yet. We have not linked yet. So min is linked to amana, the verb before it, and wow is a conjunction. Therefore this vs, this is a verbal structure, is linked to the previous verbal structure, which is at'amahum. So at'amahum wa amanahum, like that. Okay, so we are done with the grammar, and we have to go back to link the first verse. Okay, the first verse, because the first verse begins with the preposition li, Okay, let's conclude by linking the preposition, which is the preposition li, which is the first word in this surah. Okay, now there are three possibilities of verb links here. The first one being the link is in the same surah. Okay, so you don't need to hop onto another surah to get the link. Now some scholars say that this ya'budu, which is the verb, is the link to ilaf. Okay, as in they so let them worship the Lord of this house, so that, okay, the Lord, so that God, Allah, will safeguard the Quraysh. Okay, so that's the link. Okay, in Arabic that is possible. Even in English, when we say what, we go to the house, so to is the preposition, so it's linked to go, right? So we go to the house. So just imagine that sentence again. We go to the house, and if I flip it, so I say to the house we go. So we say to is the first word in that sentence, so it's linked to the verb go, which comes at the further end of the sentence. So it's the same thing. Okay, so that's this one way of linking. The other way of linking is to link it to the verb preceding directly the preposition, which is what? فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ. فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ, which is this one. Okay, oh sorry, this one, جَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ. Now this verb is the last verb in Surah Al-Fil. Therefore, if we link li'ila fi Qurayshin to that verb, it becomes like this: and God made them, the army of the elephant, like straws eaten. Why? To safeguard li'ila fi Qurayshin, to safeguard the Quraysh, because the Quraysh are the custodians of the Kaaba. Okay, so that's one. The other one is to link it to the second verse of Surah Al-Fil, which is what? Which is fa'ala rabbuka. So alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil. Actually, it's the first verse. So what God did to the army of the elephant. So and then it's linked to why God did that. لِإِيلَافِ Quraysh is to safeguard the Quraysh as the custodians of Kaaba. Alright, so those are the three possible links that you can do for لِإِيلَافِ Quraysh. In fact, one of the collectors of the Quran, compilers of the Quran, did not establish a division between the surahs, Al-Fil and Quraysh, and therefore in his version of the Quran there is no Bismillah, so there is just فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ, and right after it لِإِيلَافِ Quraysh. So that supports this view of the link of لِإِيلَافِ to جَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ. Alright, so those are the three linkages that are possible for the surah, so that's the grammar of Surah Quraysh. Okay, so let's translate one last time. Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Li'ila fi Quraysh. Okay, for the safeguarding of the tribe of Quraysh who were the custodians of Kaaba. Okay, and this safeguarding comes in the form of safeguarding God safeguarding them and safeguarding their trade routes of winter and Saif, winter going down to Yemen, and Saif, summer going up to Syria and Sham. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا. So because of the favors of God securing them all that, so they have to worship the Lord of this house, which who feeds them from hunger and saves them from fear. Alright, that's quite a simple translation, which needs more details if we were to go esoteric with these translations. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and if you're one of the students in class, I'll see you when we go to the details.